Hello, beautiful people. And today we'll be talking about who will Toronto Raptors be drafting in this year's NBA draft. And before, of course, guys, today's video, I want to hear your thoughts down below. And those thoughts are, who do you think the Toronto Raptors will draft? Why will they draft this person? And how will this player help them? So, the Toronto Raptors have the 33rd pick in this year's NBA draft. Okay, with the Spurs getting the 20th pick from them. Either way, Masai Ujiri has used bottom third picks in the first round to grab guys like Bruno Caboclo, DeLon Wright, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, and Malachi Flynn, while the Raptors have had just one pick in the 30s since Ujiri came from Denver, and that was DeAndre Daniels in 2014, who has never played an NBA game and is in Australia. As of right now, we've seen multiple people put players out there, and players who could be in the range are Dalen Terry, Leonard Miller, okay? Harrison Ingram would have been a guy, but he's reverted back to going to college again. Trevor Keels, Christian Colocu, Wendell Moore Jr., and G. Montero, Caleb Houston, David Roddy, Andrew Nembhard, Julian Champagny, who's the brother of Justin Champagny, okay? And let's get right into it. And let's talk about Peyton Watson could be there too. So the Raptors have a whole bunch of guys that could be Raptors. And let's talk about it because there's other guys that I think they could pick up in undrafted free agents. So we'll first talk about Dalen Terry. This is the most Raptors pick. He's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. He mainly played point guard, but he can play the 1 through 3. I know they drafted Delano Banton, who's a very similar player, but I think this guy, Dalen Terry, he shot 36.4% from 3, and has done very little off the dribble, but he's a guy who's known for his hustle, deflections, defense, rebounding, and secondary playmaking skills. And he's a guy who could go in the second round and contribute day one. And he averaged 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, and 1.5 steals on 50.2% from the field. Now, Leonard Miller, he averaged in the Ontario Scholastic Basketball Association. He's 19 years old, 6'10" with a 7'2" wingspan, with excellent athleticism and good agility. He is a very Raptors pick, but he's very raw. Yes, he averaged 31 points per game, 11.6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals per game, 50% from the field. He was horrendous at the combine. Horrendous. He looked so raw. Literally, if you guys remember Bruno Caboclo, this guy's a little bit more ahead than Caboclo, but it's similar measurements. And look, he's a mix of the typical Raptors type combined with the Caboclo experiment. He hasn't played college basketball and using the pre-draft process to determine if he should go to college, the G League, or the NBA. So basically, Leonard Miller took a prep year, and he's now deciding, should I go to college, should I go to the G League or the NBA? He impressed at the Nike Hoop Summit playing for Team World and was ruled eligible for the draft because he completed a postgraduate year. Logic says Miller will go another route if he doesn't get a first round guaranteed, but perhaps such an agreement at being drafted at 33 for his home team would do the same. Miller's a long-term guy. And the Raptors have the development infrastructure in place to make it work. Next, I think Trevor Keels is awesome, 6'5", big wingspan. He's a wing, 19 years old, 42% from the field, 1.5 steals, 3 assists, 3.5 rebounds, 11.5 points, 6'5", not the biggest guy, and allegedly he's 6'3" without shoes, but he's a great defender. He's a grab and go guy off the glass, and he's just a dirty work lover. I like him. Now, if they want to go center, there's Christian Colocu, who definitely will be there. Almost 13 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, almost 3 blocks a game while shooting 64% from the field. And if they're looking to go big, I think Colocu, a guy who is from Cameroon, who focused mainly on soccer until he got into his late teens, Colocu spent 3 years at Arizona, and beyond the Siakam experience, I think Colocu still has plenty of development, and this is a perfect team to develop. Another African player. He's a great shot blocker with good lateral quickness, type of big that the Raptors gamble on because he could maybe go switch on the perimeter. Then there's, of course, Wendell Moore Jr., who could be gone, but if he's there, this man, 6'5", and he shot almost 40% from 3, 41.3% from 3. Okay, his free throw percentage was better than 80% for 3 seasons at Duke, which means his shooting form is fine. And his wingspan was measured longer than 7 feet at 6'5". Okay, this guy's a more defensive upside as he's an ultra-talented guy who lacks athletic burst, and he'll likely slide due to the fact that he's not a shot creator. He's more of even though he averaged 5.5 rebounds and almost 5 assists a game, he shows the ability to be a secondary playmaker. He's more going to be off the ball guy, 3 and D. And then if they want to go completely against the type, they could go Gene Montero, who averaged 17.6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3.5 steals on 39.8% from the field. He was way better in Gran Canaria in Spain. And when he came to overtime elite, yeah, he just played excellent ball handling and ability to maneuver the half court without, the struggle. And they drafted guys who are either tough in pedigree, like Van Vliet and Flynn, or length and Wright and Delano Banton. Montero would be completely opposite what they normally draft, so I doubt it. And then, you have Caleb Houston, who's from Mississauga, Ontario, and he didn't attend a draft combine this past week, but he seems like a guy who could be really good. He was a top recruit and a high-end prospect. And if they want to go oddball, there's David Roddy. He's an older prospect, 6'6", forward, 21 out of to Colorado State. He's a guy who could be like PJ Tucker, Draymond Green, Grant Williams, mixed 6'6", smart offensively, has the instincts to be a charge taker and quickness. I like him. And then there's Andrew Nembhard, who this guy dominated the scrimmage, and he looked like a mid to late second rounder guy. He's definitely someone they should target in free agency, undrafted. Same thing with Julian Champagny. I like them both. Peyton Watson, Hugo Benson, Khalifa Diop is someone that I really like. But if I have to choose who they're going to draft, if they don't go Leonard Miller and he doesn't, I think Dalen Terry's who they're going to draft. And if it's not Dalen Terry, I could see him going at Koloku, Wendell Moore. Let me hear your thoughts down below if you guys agree.